Blizzard just dropped the biggest bomb I've ever seen in all of World of Warcraft Classic history. They completely just changed the way the game is played for one particular class, and that is by nerfing Unholy Death Knights. Now, we all know DKs is this god class doing ridiculous damage during their burst windows, where their gargoyle pretty much does all of the damage for them, and then they really fall off as you have a longer fight. But the entire playstyle of the class is revolving around snapshotting your gargoyle and snapshotting your army of the dead, so you can have those things do most of your damage for you, because the class itself really doesn't do that much DPS outside of those abilities. And the main reason this all works so well is because gargoyles fully snapshot all of your haste and attack power from the second they are summoned. This is how it's always worked in Wrath of the Lich King, and so you always try to stack as many haste procs in that moment for your snapshot, and then switch to whatever else you need to be able to just continue doing okay DPS for the rest of the fight while your gargoyle kind of carries you pretty much for the fight itself. So Blizzard is testing out an adjustment to gargoyles on this new PTR. When we get to test out the raid Ulduar tomorrow, there will be some adjustments to the way haste works for the spell Summon Gargoyle. Mainly, they're looking at the issues where gargoyles could be snapshotted with a few tiny haste procs that you're really focused on getting to get over 370% haste on your Gary, up to 400% for DKs throughout the expansion if you are a troll even. And this means you are getting your 2-second cast time of gargoyle down to around 3.5 seconds if you had a perfect snapshot and you had just the absolute best gear. Well, the change is that gargoyles cast time will now reevaluate every time it casts a spell. So it's going to be a variable adjustment, kind of like if you summon something like wolves if you're a shaman. So it's no longer snapshotting haste at all. It will still snapshot attack power, but haste is no longer gonna be snapshotted for DKs. So no longer are the days of fishing for these amazing procs right at the beginning of a fight, maybe using the right meta gem and hoping you get these crazy things to happen, and then getting a huge snapshot off on your gargoyle and having it pump for you while you aren't really doing most of the damage. And let's be honest, Unholy DKs have been kind of abusing this in the sense that if you saw any sort of parse raids, you would see that it's just ridiculous damage. No one can keep up with them because we have short fights right now in Naxxramas, and the damage numbers of multiple DKs just makes the short fight even shorter. Now, they do go on to say that they don't make this change lightly. They hoped they never would have to make this change, but the current data demonstrates that if left untouched, DKs would kind of scale better than anyone else would throughout the rest of the game, which I even mentioned in a video earlier today. And that's kind of true, but also not necessarily exactly true. It's kind of more true than it ever was in private servers, but it's not as true as like they're going to be the best scaling class if you look at something like Fire Mages or Fury Warriors. Now, they say they expect Death Knights will still be producing the highest overall damage in the game throughout the game, but in all actuality, I think this might be completely false. So much so that the Unholy DK Discord has already within minutes renamed themselves Warlock Rerollers Anonymous. Now, this could actually be a real thing. This is actually going in and adjusting only one class's one ability and how it affects one thing, which is fully how we've been playing this game the entire time. We've been focused on getting huge haste procs for a big snapshot, but now you will have a gargoyle summon and it will be adjusting as you're actually getting haste procs during the actual fight. It totally changes how we play the class, but it also makes it so that there will be some variability and your gargoyle won't have to worry about like, oh no, did I get my black magic proc or not? We don't know exactly how much this is gonna nerf the class, and Blizzard has said that if this nerf goes too far, they are thinking about other adjustments. So it does hurt, and I know a lot of people on the internet love to complain about Unholy DKs, let's be honest, because they were extremely strong, especially if you stack them and have short kill times. But in Ulduar, they really weren't looking like, at least early on, to be the most ridiculous class. Now, I do want to say, hopefully this does get adjusted, or hopefully it's not too big of a nerf. We have to test it to see, but it seems like Unholy DK stonks are ridiculously down. And it does mean that Warlocks are looking phenomenal. It opens the floodgates. It opens the floodgates, guys. If I'm gonna speak candidly, it opens the floodgates for, will we adjust other things? Will other classes see nerfs? Which is something we haven't really seen before in Classic, and especially after we've just got word that Ret Paladins won't see any buffs, even though they are by far the lowest on the totem pole of the DPS classes throughout the entire expansion. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this, how you feel about it, how big of a nerf this is, what class you're gonna play instead if you end up not playing Unholy DK anymore, and I'll try to keep you all updated as much as possible as things change or are variable. But hopefully it's not that bad.